Hiya, my name's Pete. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to What Remains. In this episode we are going to be going from Barlby magazine, which we saw in the last episode, so go back and watch that if you've not seen it. We're now back on the track bed where I pointed out where I said we would leave off. So that is our track bed there. It's an embankment here now where we left it behind, and our ammunition dump follows that line, which was a railway line, up to the magazine. So we're stood on what was left of the embankment, but it's gone. There's this big green network rail fence here, so we can't go beyond there. But what I can tell you is that that's embankment, and here it's been cut away, and we're going to be following that hedge line under that bridge, which was never there. That's a new bridge, and we're going to pick up from there. So as I was just saying, we are on what was the embankment, and it's been cut away, and my brother's been having a dig around and he's been picking up these little bits here. Bit of clinker with some unburnt coal in there, and a huge piece of clinker here. And if we just look at the ground, we can see the colour, this dark brown where we just scrape away the surface a little bit, and there's the elevation of where the original track bed was. We'll go back down there because at this point it was 4 lines wide. What you can see behind me is where the embankment was. I'm stood on what was the embankment, and here we are now where it is now still a live line, Hull to Selby. And there's something interesting down here. That's this. We potentially thought this might have been a sinkhole, but we've shone the torch down there and it's got old brickwork on either side, old enough potentially for our railway, and we can see track bed in there. I shone the torch that way and it seems to go under the railway line, and I've shone the torch this way and it seems to go under the railway line. It's not a brick arch, it's a flat top, potentially a drain that used to go under the railway long before this modern road was built. These lines are still probably on the original alignment, and then we're on what was the track bed. We're going to have difficulty accessing some of this now because most of it's live. Well, it is all live line all the way to Selby now, but we can still go alongside it, and we've still got some interesting history to show you along the way before we reach Selby. We're going to get down there and I'm going to show you the alignment of where the railway was. That's the bridge we were just under there. This is our track bed all behind here alongside of this dyke here. Now I believe we can get closer to the track bed a little bit further up there, so that's where we're going to go. This is all overgrown and inaccessible to us at the moment. That's the hedge line we were just talking to you from. This is our embankment now, and we're right on the edge of the embankment. Looks like this was a drain at one time, but just sat nestled in there, which I'll put some photographs on at the end, is a signal pulley post, what we've been spotting all the way along this railway line. Now that is part of our Selby to Market Weighton railway. If we see any more, I'll take some photographs and I'll put those on up at the end, so stick around for those. Now that's the one we've just seen up there, and we can see it's got like 6 pulleys on it. There's another one here, right at the side of that tree in there. Now there was a big junction coming up called Barlby. That's probably why there's so many cables on there, but let's not forget there would have been changing lines here to go to the magazine dump, which is over that tree line there. So I expect there'll be quite a few of these on the way down. I'll take a photograph of many of them and I'll put them up at the end. Now you're probably not going to be able to pick them out, but in there, just thrown to the side, are some old railway chairs, what the tracks used to lay into and fasten down onto the sleepers. And in there as well we've got a piece of perpendicular sandstone. I know, it's interesting to see what that was. I cannot go on there. That is Network Rail land. That is criminal trespass. That is prison. That is a fine of up to £1,000. My YouTube doesn't make enough money to cover that fine, so we are not going up there, and I do not want a criminal record. It is a real shame that we cannot get on here, because we are seeing all kinds of railway junk just thrown to the side. We've got gullies and channels. We've got a railway sleeper there that looks old enough. However, this is an active railway. That might have just been thrown there when they're moving over to more modern sleepers from the active line. We've got pieces of cast iron down there, and we're just seeing all kinds of things along this embankment from the railway. We're now about halfway between the road bridge, the modern one, and Barlby Junction, and we've come across something quite interesting. It's been demolished, but we can figure out what was going on. We've got this gully here. We've got an original brick arch there. The other side is pretty much demolished. I say demolished, it's overgrown, we can't see it, but we can see it here. This is original brickwork from around 1848. I am now on top of what has been modernised of an original gully, which lay here alongside the track bed. So all this here will have been built over and had a track bed over the top of it for the Driffield Market Weighton Selby Railway. Now in there I can see a dark hole and I can see an original archway. This is our track bed here. It's all been demolished. If we look through the fence here now, we can see that this is the active line, and this big flat expanse here is our track bed. That will take us down to Barlby Junction. But before we get there, I'm just going to go over there and I'm going to point this way. This is the other side that I was going to show you, that's all overgrown, and that's going on to our live railway line. Here we can get a better see on what was going on. It's roughly where that return is, there is where our track bed ends. This gully here was running alongside the railway, and we can see we've got the original brickwork in there. Now the question is, that side's gully, this side has been bridged for some reason, that side is gully which has now been lost and filled in, and then this way would have been gully to go under the railway line. Why was this here? Perhaps this was a farmer's crossing at one time in history that's been long gone and lost, and there's no access anymore. Our next port of call is we're going to try and get down to where Barlby Junction box 1 stood, which is not far down the line. I'll just give you a better shot of that. So that is approximately where Barlby Junction box was, just on the other side of those trees there. This is our track bed. We're going to walk down here and we're going to see how close we can get. This is our embankment here, and just in there where them base of them trees are, there is a sleeper what them trees have grown over, and on top of there is our live line, and we can still see how wide that is because this was still 4 lines wide. We're almost at Barlby Junction. Barlby Junction was an important junction for many reasons. Before we get down there, I just need to point something out to you. Our original track bed is over this fence on the really wide embankment that still exists there. But a little bit further down there is the old East Coast Mainline junction, which was at Barlby, and this is where it ran. Once it left Barlby, which is probably about 100 metres away, it came here, and what we're looking at there, we think, is an embankment of where it ran and the fence posts, and where it runs now is where you can see all those cars and that road and up the A19. We're going to have a quick look on there to see what remains, but that's not our purpose today, that's the future. But we're trying to get to Barlby. So this is the East Coast Mainline track bed. What I thought was an embankment is just piled up rubble and rubbish, and it could have been a cutting, it could have been level, we're not sure at this point, not researched it, but what I can tell you is we've got concrete posts here from the East Coast Mainline. We've got one there that's super overgrown, I'm going to put one or two pictures of these up at the end. We've got quite a substantial one here. This was more than likely a wire tensioner there, and probably the remains of a telegraph pole. I'm going to get up to roughly where the track bed was, which is in here. And if we look down on the ground, we've got ballast everywhere. All through here. This is about as wide as it was where that fence was, and our Barlby Junction is just through there, and we're going to try and get there shortly. Whilst we're on the old East Coast Mainline, which shut in about 1982, 1981, somewhere around there, due to the expansion of the Selby coalfield, there was the Selby diversion built. Where we are is on the actual track bed, and they've just dumped loads of stuff. I'm going to show you what we've found, and then we're going to continue on with our Driffield, Market Weighton and Selby Railway. Now what we're looking at here are sleepers piled up and dumped. Some of them have got chairs on. So what I've done is I've cleaned one chair off here to show you that we've got NER date on here. I'll come around the other side so you can read this one with me. This has got 1940, I think it's 47, that, yeah, 1947. Amazing. And there is another chair there, another chair over there, more under there, and I wonder if any of these date from World War II, when they would have been using this line to visit Barlby munitions dump. We're going to continue on, and we're going to try and get to where Barlby Junction box was. It's going to be very difficult for us, but we're going to do our best. Those are the sleepers we were just looking at. It's worth noting and telling you there is ballast everywhere. They did a very poor job of cleaning what was here. We are now at Barlby Junction. There's nothing here, no longer a junction. It was a very busy junction. We can still see behind me the live line. It was still four tracks wide at this point. It also curved off behind me up here to go to the East Coast Mainline. I'll turn the camera around. Now I have got some photographs of what this junction used to look like, and our signal box used to be somewhere around where them trees are, in between them trees, somewhere around there. Nothing remains. There was also sidings that went into this factory here that no longer exists. It was a chemical plant. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the camera here, and I'm going to say the signal box was there. In the background over there was tanks, storage tanks for chemicals. So when I fade the photos in, I want you to have a look at those. Now what we're going to do is, this signal box is gone, but our next signal box remains, and that is at Barlby. This was known as Barlby Junction, and the other one is Barlby, and that's where we're going to go to next. Going to end the episode here. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. This episode we've gone to Barlby Junction. It was interesting trying to get there. Anybody who's been there knows the way we went was just totally overgrown. In the meantime, please buy us a coffee from the link down below. I'm trying to save up some new camera equipment as well, so I can take you some more underground places with tunnels and rivers and things like that. But the camera I've got won't survive water, so I've put a GoFundMe link. So hopefully, if you can afford it, I would appreciate if you can donate anything to there, so I can go get those cameras. In the meantime, please take care. Stick around for the next episode, which will be coming very shortly, and I'll see you in the next one.